complimentary about your running backs the other day. I'm curious to know about your philosophy of running the ball on offense. How important do you think that is within an offense, and is that dictated a little differently within conference? In other words, facing SEC defenses, should that be more or less of a priority running the ball?
Running the football is an attitude thing. It's like I think it's a mentality. I think when you get a play against a team that can run the football, that team can separate in the fourth quarter. The run game can be like kind of body shots to a boxer, like just runs that go for 3 or 4 yards early in the game become 8, 12 to explosive plays late in the game. So I think it's important. It's also important in controlling the game too. We want to be an offense that can control the game and score points. And so obviously the way you can control the game, you establish a physical run game that has the ability to keep the offense on schedule, and that opens up then a passing game off the run action, right? Like, so there are complementary components to that too. So, we want to be able to run the ball. And I think when you go into the planning aspect of that, it's how are you creating matchups? Where are you running the football? How are you using formations, shifts of motions, and cadence changes to create imbalance for the defense and find the run game, right? It's not like we're just looking to run inside zone, 20 to 30 times. We want to be creative in the way we craft the run game. And so it starts with the mindset. That's what we're trying to build now. I think it's important to controlling the game and to winning in the fourth quarter. We're going to be in tight games where a 4-minute drive can seal it for us. So in those moments where we need 1 first down to be able to kneel on the ball, can we get it in the run game, right? I mean, that's kind of the ins and outs. When you get into the red zone, the field space constricts, you better be able to run the football. And that could be, running the running back. It could be pulling the ball with the quarterback, but you better have a plan for it. So we're working on that now, but once we get into the specifics of planning, it's not just, again, running inside zone, over and over again. It's crafting a run game that's creative, that gives us a chance to run the matchups and win in that phase of the game.
Your Notre Dame defenses were really good at stopping the run. I've found over the years that defensive-minded coaches tend to value an offensive run game a little more. Maybe it's a physicality, this sort of things. Do you find that that's the case? Do you think defensive guys maybe see the value more in running it?
I don't know. I tend to stay away from and maybe this is because my background. I think sometimes when we make generalizations about coaches, it's just, I mean, everyone kind of sees the game unique to their perspective. For me, complementary football is really important. I don't think that that's unique to me as a coach that has a defensive background. I just think when you look at your offense, your defense, and your special teams, everything needs to click together. And again, controlling the game is what we're after here. And to control the game, you need to be able to keep your offense on schedule. You need to be able to convert third downs. You need to be able to avoid third down and keep rhythm in your drive. And you need to be able to score. We have to score touchdowns in the red zone. I mean, that's the formula. Obviously we want to open up explosive play. We want to get the ball down the field. But for us to do that, we're going to start with a physical run game that's going to set up play action, that's going to open up opportunities once teams need to load the box, that we can push the ball down the field. Part of it, I probably, as a defensive coach, the one thing I will say to you is that you're on the other side of it. So you're focusing on the things that you've had trouble defending, or the things that keep you up at night. And certainly in that sense, playing against teams that can run the ball to win, that, again, in a fourth quarter where you've gone hard for 3 and now you're in the fourth and you've got a battered unit on the field, and you have a team that is moving you against your will, there's not a more helpless feeling.
Hmm.
I can bat the ball down at the line of scrimmage. I can, the elements may alter the passing game, right? But when you're getting moved against your will up front late in the game and they're going 4 to 6 yards a pop, it's misery. And so you just want to have the confidence and the ability to do that at some level. And I know, again, for me, it's not so much that there's a specific run play that I have in mind. There's a specific scheme that we're going to do repeatedly. We have our identity on offense, but when it comes down to planning against each opponent, I think the design of the play will adjust based off where our matchups exist, where the best play exists for us.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Michael Bratton, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, first of all, Michael Bratton. I work for Saturday Down South, cover SEC football. Just want to say thanks for giving me this opportunity. But I got a question for you. So I've been paying attention to a lot of your press conferences, a lot of your radio interviews and whatnot. You seem like a really measured guy, put a lot of thought into a lot of the decisions you're making. And obviously heading into your first time as a head coach, coming into the fall, have you given any consideration into, this is going to be the first time where you're going to be the guy on the sidelines with making the final calls, whether it's 4th and short, do we go for it? Do we kick a field goal? Do we go for 2 late in the game? How are you preparing to handle those situations? And do you got anyone that's maybe running analytics that's going to help you on game day? Have you given any thought to that? I'm curious what your perspective on analytics, if you want to call it that.
That's a great question, and I appreciate it. Absolutely. Look, being a defensive coordinator in college football anymore is it's a complicated task. There's a lot, and there's constant pressure, and you're constantly reacting to elements within the game that change, a call, change a personnel grouping, force you to adjust. But the spotlight burns a little brighter now in the seat that I'm in. And that's something that I won't know completely what that's like until I've lived it, but I'm anticipating it and preparing myself accordingly. I will make mistakes, just like everyone does, but the sooner I adjust and adapt to that role, the more impactful our program can be. Analytics have become a part of our game, and that's something I'm interested in, putting our team in the best position to win. So we will be engaged in that, and that'll inform us, right? But I still need to make the final call. And, some of it, you can plan for some of that and anticipate some of it. And as I'm getting to know our offensive and defensive systems in the spring, I'm kind of getting a sense for what that plan to win is, what it is that we need, how we need to be designed on both sides of the ball to give our team the best chance to win games. But I think you also need to give room for that personality to develop through the summer and into the fall. And so, and even through the season. And I guess what I'm trying to say, and I'm being a little long-winded, is just my ability to adapt and evolve within the season, within the moment, and to have some instinct that I can lean on with respect to what this team needs, what the situation needs, when to be aggressive, when to choose to punt the ball, those kind of things. Those are aspects of being a head coach that I am, daily spending time on, focused on, learning about. And some of them, obviously, I've carried over from being a defensive coordinator. It's not like you fill a role and you just put blinders up to everything else going on. We're pretty in tune to everything that happens within a game, even if it's not directly under my responsibility. So, I've gotten to observe some really good head coaches on game day, Dave Clawson, Brian Kelly, that have shown me also what that looks like. So.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Adam, got another?
Yeah, let me go back to running backs if I can. I saw the scrimmage, and Marlowe looked really good and the other running backs looked good. You don't have a lot of numbers at running back. Is the hope that Raymond Davis will get that waiver? Will that help out a lot? And are you concerned about the overall numbers at running back?
Well, the reason, I guess the good news for all of us is, I played fullback and Coach McKenzie played tailback, so that we always can find a number here or there. If I'm just kidding. No, we obviously there are things that we control and things we don't. And right now, the numbers at that position we don't control. We have to do the best we can to develop the guys we have. We'll be adding to those numbers with incoming freshmen this summer, and we're developing those numbers through recruiting now in our efforts. And so that is what it is. What we want to do is make sure the guys that we're lining up with are prepared to play at a really high level. And I think success in that scrimmage is both indicative of guys that are bought into their guys that are good players, that are bought into their reads, their lines, their reactions, the attitude it takes to run the ball effectively. And also want to pay compliment to Coach McKenzie. I mean, I think he's done a fantastic job, pushing that group to another level, and will continue. And that's the sign of a great coach. We focus on the play call a lot, but the truth is, a great coach is a developer, and these guys will benefit being around Coach McKenzie. Obviously this spring, but in the summer, fall camp. And the thing that gets exciting to me is just how this team can continue to transform, as we're still early in on this. And even in the fall, we'll be early in on it. These relationships are still developing, but how you see those relationships deepen, you see the understanding become a little more clean, and you see the reaction and anticipation on the field enhance. Like that's exciting to me too. So we'll make it work. Luke's done a great job stepping in too. And look, as a former fullback, there's nothing wrong with at times putting that guy, letting the big dog eat is what I told him today, is putting him back there and letting him get some carries. But we'll find a way. That's what this program's about. We'll line up with the guys we have that are healthy, and Coach McKenzie's going to get them prepared. The scheme will be set up, designed to let them have success. And they've done a great job of taking ownership on that end, and their end, and being prepared. And we will find a way.
And you said a second ago, there's that helpless feeling, that misery when an offense is moving your defense physically. Was any flashbacks there? Did you ever think about when you felt that misery in a game specifically?
I would have to go back probably to to early, kind of mid 2000s Stanford, right when Coach Harbaugh took over. They were so physical up front, and you knew they were going to run the ball, and they were they were moving you against your will. At times, when I was at Syracuse, I remember having that feeling too. Like, I think it was South Florida game in Tampa where it was a close game. It was like 7-6 at halftime or something. And then you come out of half thinking, all right, this is a tight game. We're going to find a way to win. And then, sometimes you just don't take into account the accumulation of snaps, the accumulation of physical play. And we talked about this today as a program. Just, there's really two games going on. There's a tactical, strategic, matchup-driven game, and that's what everyone wants to focus on, right? That's recruiting. That's the players. That's how you get the ball to a certain guy in a certain situation, whatever. And then there's the mental game, and the mental game really is played 365 days a year. I mean, you are constantly working on your mental capacity, and the mental game allows for this conditioning level, this mental and physical conditioning that we focused on as a team, that hopefully puts this team in position in the fourth quarter to have the ability to separate. I mean, that's the goal. So for us, as we look at just what we're going to do in terms of preparing this team, we want to capture that moment in the fourth quarter where we're able to move the opponent against their will. We're able to separate as the snaps accumulate. And that's a little bit of what I'm talking about. Those feelings of misery aren't just about a particular play. It's about the accumulation of plays that just drain the energy out of the opponent. And I've certainly, unfortunately, been a part of that in the past. Over the last 4 years, we had less of that, right? We were able to, but a lot of that defensively is just a focus on, this conditioning aspect and this physical aspect, what it takes to win games against tough running teams in the fourth quarter.
Good deal. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Coach. Enjoy your weekend and time with the kiddos.
All right.